Why does it feel so cold inside my heart tonight? Be my man is what she said. It's not just the wind that's moving round tonight. But quick and clean don't make it right.
Ant and I are out in the bush. We got off to a slow start. It's probably about 10:30. I had to do some work this morning and Ant had to do something. I think it was give one of the servants a jolly good thrashing. But
I actually stopped off for my extra large cafe latte with no sugar, soy milk on the side.
So we're back out and we've stopped. We're on our way to a spot where we've got gold the last 2 weeks, but we've stopped at a spot and it's a pretty obvious spot. It's right near the tracks. It's bounded by 2 tracks, and anyone driving past can see that it's been serviced, and so it's seen a lot of detecting. So what are we doing here and how are we going to find gold? And this is how we're going to do it. There's a hut up there that's got signals, so where there's signals there's still possibly gold. But the trouble is the bloody ground's as hard as a cat's head, so we are going to dodge that a bit. The only other way to get gold in spots like this is shift things that are keeping your detector off the ground. So the likes of that big bit of sandstone, the likes of these stumps, use your digger. Don't reach your hand under there because Joe Blake could be under there, a snake could be under there. Use your digger and pull him out of the way. But all those bits of areas are ground that hasn't been detected. And the third way, and this is the best way of the lot, do the fringes of the area. Where this track runs down here, everybody that stops and parks, they step in like this, turn the detector on, start to detect. It detects up there, and you tend to follow the same path that everyone else has done. So there's an area down here, this track's been dozed, so this ground here has been pushed up out of the diggings. Ant's going to start here this morning. If you keep on this, so it's likely ground, there's plenty of stone and plenty of ground that's been pushed up. If Ant keeps on this, keeps focused and does a strip probably 2 foot wide, the width of his detecting arm, or 3 foot wide, and goes straight down, and the same, I'm going to do the same down on the other end. Where the digging's cut out, there's a fringe that goes between the creek and where they've stopped working. And I've got a few little ones off it before, because everyone gets to the end of the diggings, does another 4 or 5 feet, turns back and goes back onto the diggings. So when you're in a spot that's been hammered, and this has been hammered, you're lucky to get signals, let alone gold. And I know people will say, oh, I don't like doing the tracks. The tracks have got nails and the tracks have got this and that. And they have. They've got a lot. Every 4-wheel drive that's gone past here seems to have dropped a screw or a bit of wire or a bolt or something. But I bet in my next 100 signals I dig, one will turn into be gold. And you've got to dig signals to get gold. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make a start. Oh, one other test too. When you go out in the bush, I went out in the bush last week, and we filmed it, and I made a mistake, and I got caught out. And so just be careful of this if you're going out in the bush. I've got my detector, my battery pack, my canister, and now Ant, just check that I'm buttoned up properly.
Last week, got a bit of a deep V there, Glenn. I don't know, we might get a few comments on that. Might have to button up one more.
So last week my shirt was buttoned irregularly, copped a lot of backlash. So when you go out in the bush, it's very, very important. Just make sure you button up properly before you leave the car. Righto, we're going to make a start.
Let's do it, mate.
Remember I said we were going to detect around the fringes? Well, I've been going for about 50 minutes, Ant's been going for about half an hour, and the reason Ant's only been going half an hour is when we got out the bush...
You don't have to tell the people this, Glenn.
When we got out the bush, Ant left part of his gear back at my place.
The power
so
cable.
A good mate would have said, yeah, fella, I'll go back with you and help you get your stuff.
Not Glenn.
But I said, no, Ant,
You're on your own.
You go, I'm all right, I'll make a start. So anyhow, I've come right over the edge and standing in a surfacing now, and this is, when they mined this would have been the original ground. This is where they brought the water in for the water races, and they've taken it out about 8 inches or probably 10 inches. You can see the edges of it, and they've worked it right back to this. to the bedrock. So they've washed it right off and put their stones aside. So this is obviously an area that's had gold. It's the bottom part of this big diggings that we're on. So that's the bedrock sticking through. So obvious spots for detectors on the surfacing and on the edges of the surfacing. And of course the last 1,000 blokes that have been in here, they've known that as well. So Ant's going to pause it because we've got a long walk down here and I'll show you where I detected. I haven't dug any gold yet, but I've got 2 signals that I've got a very keen interest in.
Hey, before we go down, Glenn.
Yeah.
Whose external speaker you got on there?
It's playback time.
What happened to yours?
We're both using external speakers. I foolishly shut mine in the tailgate, which I don't I don't know if you know much about electronics and plastic, but if you get a big beefy arm slamming the tailgate on a flimsy bit of plastic,
Not a good idea.
it's not a good idea.
No. Oh, we'll get you sorted, Glenn. We'll get you fixed up.
And that's my own fault because I shouldn't have dobbed Annie for getting stuff. Righto, we're going to go down here.
Let's go check it out.
But it's a bloody 3-minute walk, and every time that Anne films me from behind, you see this feeble old bloke getting his stick caught in the bloody leg and falling over. So none of that today. We're going to start down here. Righto, Ant, we'll go down.
Let's go.
Righto, now I couldn't be any more on the fringe of these the diggings.
You step back and
there's
you're
a
going to
drop away there to the creek.
What do you reckon the height of that drop away is?
Oh, probably a broken wrist and a fractured skull, but about 16 to 17 feet.
Careful.
Unfortunately, the rocks would break my fall, so yeah. So yeah, I don't want to step over
No, I don't
there.
want to be pulling you up from out of there.
But I've got a signal here. I'll mark this one with a white bit of quartz, and I've got one here that I've also marked with a bit of quartz. And the interesting thing about these signals is how easy they are to detect. See, 5000D, got the booster on, picked that up, no effort. That one even a bit more easy. And the reason they're still here is you've got to come all the way to the back of the diggings, come down that slope, get over this little cutaway, little race, and lay up here. So I've got my Ant to come over. I decoyed Ant and had him right on the other side because I thought I've got gold in here before. I thought this is the most likely spot.
That'd be right.
So we'll dig these 2. Sometimes I've dug about 4 signals already, but sometimes we get carried away and don't. So this is in a throw out pile. So the water that's run down there, they've been using that and throwing their stones up here.
Ooh, sounds good.
That was just my digger.
Yeah. But that noise is nice.
I've got, see those furze bushes or gorse bushes, depending where you're from. I'm sitting on one of them and it's jammed up my backside. So,
Oh, Jesus.
so that's the price we pay.
Yeah, prickly Moses.
Now, I don't want to push any stones over the edge because one of these might have the bit of gold on it that I'm looking for, so I don't want to discard them.
Singing now.
The other good thing about this ground, nice and clayey. The old timers hated the clay because clay would pick up gold, and that's the sort of ground, if they wanted to work it, they had to put it in the puddler. And the interesting thing about puddlers is, puddlers are, or were, invented in Victoria. It's a Victorian thing. So they hadn't been used anywhere in, hadn't been used on any gold fields in the world until they were used in Victoria. It's not going, not blanking out.
It's very promising. sound, that's for sure.
Anne will be bloody watching. He's got eyes like a hawk.
I wish I was a metre or two closer.
Yeah, because I just pulled the bloody thing out of the way.
Oh, into the prickly mazes. I'm going to come around a bit.
Yeah.
You're right on him.
Right there, Ant. He's not standing out like gold, like.
Got him. Yes.
That's a relief to us all.
Yeah.
No, there he is. He's not gold.
Bugger. Bit of rust.
Just a little bit of rust, a little bit of, and maybe
Nice
a bit
size, but wrong colour.
of shovel. Rightio. The only good thing about that is, I thought that was my worst signal. That's why I started with that fella. Now, right where you're standing, I reckon you use hand.
Somewhere around there, yeah?
No, I reckon back where your toes are.
Alright.
So listen to how easy those signals are, you know. I'm making myself a nest this time.
Good idea.
Right. So it's not that these signals were hard to find, it's just no one has put a detector on them. So you can keep that in mind when you're, I know I labour the point sometimes, but when you're out, if you're on ground that's been worked before, and it all bloody has now unless you're lucky, you've got to try and think somewhere else. You've got to.
Sounds good.
I used to get, when you're listening through the earphones and using the 5000, if it cut out like that, you can almost say, no, that's not gold. But with these boosters we're using, they're terribly good, but they distort the signal a little bit. So a couple of weeks ago, we filmed a few, and a few of them, even with all the discriminant on, blanked out, and they were still gold. So I don't lose interest like I might have done before.
I thought it just sounded good.
Oh, well, Ant was happy with it. But see how it's in this nice playground? Surely that's got the
No,
bastard.
you'd reckon. Yep.
That's the other thing too with the boosters. I think there's a little bit of a lag. When you got the coil like that, there's a little bit of a lag and it goes up in noise just after it's passed. Righto, Ant.
Here we go. It's on the coil. I see it.
You see it?
Yep.
Put your finger on it.
Right there. Bit of colour. Oh. A very nice little bit of colour there.
Oh, that's all right. There he is.
Look at that.
Fold over, look.
Fold it over as well, yeah.
Huh.
But beautiful colour.
Yeah, and
Very nice.
now you got 2 for 2 last week.
Yeah.
You tell me how heavy that is.
On the fatter side of half a gram, definitely.
Yeah, I concur, as we used to
But
say.
I don't think it'll hit a gram.
Rightio.
I don't think. What do you reckon?
I every little bit I find, I end up saying 0.7, so I'm going to say 0.7. But as the old lady said when she put it into the sea, every little bit helps.
That's it. That's
So,
it. Nice one, Glenn.
Righto, Ant.
We're on the board.
On the board. And
One.
two signals that you could have found. Anyone
Yeah,
could have found.
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
So
These
no
are
skill
signals.
involved, just getting away from where everyone else has been. And look at that little bit of stone there. They can carry gold in itself.
Could have come out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you could have chopped him out too. Righto, folks, we're away.
Beautiful. Give us a thumbs up, Glenn.
Too right.
Yeah. Well done.
Oh, and I've done a lot of preparation for this week. Buttoned my shirt up correctly.
Pill chop.
And ladies, you might have noticed I've had a haircut as well.
You look 10 years younger, man. Look, yeah, I can just...
Once that put me in my late 60s.
I can just see all the comments flowing on how gorgeous you look.
Well, good work, Ant.
Cheers.
Remember when I told you about the hut earlier and how we weren't going to dig signals near the hut because the ground was too hard? So that's where we are now, where we said we wouldn't be. I'll just take the opportunity to show you the hut. So it's been a pretty substantial fireplace. That's the actual square of it there. But all these stones that are down here and around there, they've fallen off it. So their fireplace about this high, and then they've used bark sides for to carry the smoke away, to draw it above the.
So Glenn's
roof line.
standing what would have been in the fireplace.
I'm in the fireplace.
Yeah.
And it's run that way, and you can see the sort of this is one here, feeder post there. No shortage of glass. No shortage of glass still here, and probably relics. That one, that's one that someone's dropped. Been out here on the ginger beer. I don't think that holds up to the time, but this sort of glass certainly does. So the point of all this is, down below us is a heap of rubbish signals. Ant's found a big rubbish signal, but just to the side of it is a smaller signal. And where he found it, you could throw a stone, you could flick a stone, where I got an ounce piece. So we haven't filmed too much, so we're going to film Ant. I'm sweating like Ant at tax time, so I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit down and watch, and Ant's going to dig it.
It's a bit warmer than we thought it was today, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. See you soon, guys. All right, we're rolling.
Right, we're rolling. I'm laying back on the log. Ant's going to do the digging. It's a lot hotter than we thought it was. We don't want to whinge about it too much, but it's bloody warm. And the marsh flies are making an impact as well. Right, there he is.
Almost ready to rock and roll.
Right, so we know one is a rubbish signal just by the noise of it.
That one.
That one. But we're going to have to get that one out. Going to have to get that one out to, there's a little one, we think.
That one.
That one. But we're not sure whether it's just catching the back of the coil from the rubbish or not. So Anne will dig the rubbish one out, and then hopefully the other one will stay there. And I don't know whether I said it on camera or off camera before, but I got a piece, I call it an ounce, but it was only 30 grams, and the troy ounce is 31.1 grams. But I got a piece, 30 grams, not that far you could throw a stone across. In fact, I did demonstrate my power to Ant and threw a stone across. So now, yeah, that's a bit better. See that big black thing in the foreground? No, not on you, on the camera. That's my huge melon head, if you're wondering what's casting the shade. I can't get around a little bit like this.
Let's see if you Yep.
Got him out already? Yep. Oh, well, that was good work. Now, we're not expecting anything from this. We reckon this is just a piece of rubbish. First time I felt the bitter wrath of the bloody internet was when I put in 10 minutes filming Ant digging the big hole and then didn't show the signal. But after bloody months of therapy, I've got over it.
There we go.
So there it is. Hold it up, Ant, for Christ's sakes. There it is. It's one of those. And it's probably a good one too when it went in there.
It's yeah.
Nail is it all?
I can't even say that it's a nail. It looks like just a bit of metal with some rust around it.
So it's a sprocket out of penny farthing
That's it.
push bike. Now, hopefully there's still a signal here.
Let's see.
That'd pass for a signal.
Sounds like a signal to me. Definitely going to have a scope in the dig before.
Righto. So now we're on to part 2.
There we go, that sounds a bit better.
Yeah. And this is what we were talking about before. There's still signals left around here because people dig a few rubbish signals and move off. And that's what we're going to do. We've got our tongues hanging out, we're heading back to the car. But Ant's come across this, so the 2 signals, so we're going to get the second one out. And it'll be a nice result if it's a bit of gold. But even if it's not, it'll be 2 less signals than when we come back in the winter time and the ground's soft. We're gonna put in an afternoon here and dig out 30 each, and then see what we get. Plus, it's a good when you have a look at that broken glass and various things. You could easily turn up a decent relic in here as well.
Yeah, we'll have to come back with the relic hunters.
Yeah. You see my trouser leg. That's a marshfly making inroads into my pants there. All right, get your head in the game, Glenn. It was sharpened up anyhow, the signal.
I might put this stuff out.
I'm trying to get down so the sun doesn't... I'm reluctant to get off this log that I'm sitting on.
Hoping that's got it out.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at it, bloody how hard work it is, and I'm not doing it. That's the... Oh, that's good news.
And this is my coil as well. Got the coil.
Oh yeah, and got the coil back.
So, got my double D back.
And shout out to Minelab. I'm not a big fan of Minelab, but they it was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it was.
And so yeah.
Oh man.
And at Minelab, if you're wondering why I'm not a big fan of you, you're often bloody slow, and you made some shit detectors. Some of those bottom line detectors are pretty ordinary. There it is.
Another one. Another
one.
Right metal.
Unfortunately. There he is, and it's
Oh,
bloody
gosh.
hot work.
It is.
But it's good that we're out here and bloody can do it.
That's
We're
it.
lucky we
And
can
it
do
sounded good from
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
you
You
wouldn't
can't.
have known. You can't leave
couldn't
signals
call it.
like that.
So, and that's 2 points there. One signal's near the hut, and 2, the big rubbish signal was blanking out the other one, and in a likely spot in that yellow clay. So this big one could have been hiding a little bit of gold there. Obviously it wasn't, but it easily could have been. Righto, Ant. Thumbs down. That's Ant filling in his holes.
Yep. And off to Smoko.
Yeah, off to have a bloody
Have a
rest
drink
and a drink.
Something to eat.
I used to go out with a couple of old blokes, and at lunchtime they'd lay back with their backs on the back of a tree and have a snooze. now Ant's me and I'm one of them. Right, good work,
Graham.
Ant.
All right, so we've moved spots after Smoko. Had a bit of food in our bellies now, and we had some coffee, and we're at the spot where Glenn found a couple of nuggets just behind us a couple of weeks back, and we've come back and walking around the edges, saw this pile of stones that are remnants of a hut. So unfortunately I don't have my Equinox with me today, but I've still been hunting around with the GPX, and I found quite a few targets. I've been digging. I've still got a few things in these holes here that I need to keep digging out, but I just found this Pennyweight, which is pretty cool. Standard W and TA, and on the back it's got, I don't know if you can make it out, but it says 1 Pennyweight. That's my first gold Pennyweight, which I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, so it just goes to show the miners were in here, living in this hut. They're as interested in weighing their gold as we are. They've got the scales out and been using that gold weight to weigh. The Pennyweight's 1/20th of an ounce, so 1.55 grams. We used to, before we got digital scales, we used to always talk in pennyweights. So I got a pennyweight piece. So there it is. It's not the weight of a penny, as some people think. It actually is derived from the term when you went and got a pennyweights of nails. So there's the amount of nails you could get for a penny, and then when the gold miners started using it, they used the term pennyweight. So there it is.
There you go.
Ant's found it. Ant's finding is better than my camera work.
That looks good. It's on it.
So that's a nice little relic Ant's found. We're going to have our relic challenge later. That can't be counted.
This
in.
is included in it.
If we go down to the wire, that can be included in it. If we do to decide. But that's a good thing to find, and just a nice bit of social history.
Yeah, definitely.
Good work, Ant.
Raf, cheers. Thanks,
Good work,
Ben.
mate. Don't step back in that shaft.
Cheers.
Rightio, we're just below where I dug a bit of gold last time we were in here. And this big bit of quartz was sitting up. I rang the coil over the top and got a really nice signal, and I thought, geez, it'd be nice if it was in that quartz. Roll the quartz out. Signal's still there, and it sounds to me
Screaming.
it sounds as though it's non-ferrous, and so there's a chance it's a token or a coin or something, or
Sovereign.
a bit of zinc or a sovereign, or it might be a bit of rubbish when I take a bit off it. I like the signal.
It's not
Where we've
bumping
got
out.
gold,
Yep.
you wouldn't think
Check it out.
you wouldn't think they would have, unless we get down into the original ground, that they would have missed one that big. But it'd be nice if it was in one of these stones. Oh, that's a good sign. I like that already.
Ooh. It's in one of the stones, probably, maybe. Or
Got a bit ambitious. It must have been just bloody on the surface. We can breathe again. At least I know where it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a bloody 22 casing, I suppose. That'd be a bit nasty.
That would be nasty.
Well, whatever it is, it's something that
Not too far away.
like I said, is non-ferrous. This handful should have it. Come on, you.
Oh, yeah. It's dropping.
I imagine you're looking closely, are you, Ant?
Oh, I certainly am.
I'll be intrigued by what it is when I do.
Oh, there we go. Now we're going to find out.
Bloody hell. And if you watch this at home, you say, Glenn, why don't you use a probe? Because I don't freaking want to use a probe. Right,
Or a scoop. Let's see what we got.
Oh, yeah.
Still in the hand.
Oh, be buggered. There it is. I was right about one thing. It's brass. It's some sort of brass pin, like off a saddle or something like that, you know, that pins the leather down. Good little signal.
Nice little rally.
Maybe Can introduce him into the Relic challenge.
Oops.
No, I did it on purpose, so when I got the bastard in my pocket, he doesn't... You're not falling down on my leg. Well...
Yeah, stick it in the goal.
Yeah. Good work.
Good work, Glenn. Digging that out, getting that. That was some good detecting there.
Bloody thing chased it around.
Yeah.
But I, for a moment I got the signal, I knew it was a nice clean bit, but never mind.
Oh well.
Back to it.
Back to it, that's it.
Am was over there digging on a hut side and got a really nice relic, a Pennyweight weight. So I was down there in the gully and dug a few signals, and I came up here, and here's my hut site. And aside from the fact that you can see where the chimney was, it's alive with bloody signals. The signal's pretty well all over it. Anyhow, when I was using the earphones, I got Ant's booster on. When I was using the earphones, I got a signal here I didn't think sounded too bad. Obviously not a piece of gold, but a very diggable relic. Well, that's what I'm hoping it is anyhow, because it sounds non-ferrous. So when they were looking for the Titanic, the first thing they looked for was what they call the debris field. So they found all the bits off the Titanic, and eventually they found the Titanic. And that's about the same with huts. You'll find a lot of signals and suddenly you'll see, oh shit, that's where the hut was. So remembering that one or two miners lived here, one just on the other bank, and then one or two down where Ant's hut was, it was a pretty popular place. Now this won't be gold. I don't think it's gold. I'll be happy if it is. But I'm going to dig it out because as I said, when I was listening through the earphones, the reason the ground is soft, there's a little spoon drain that runs down here. You can just see it coming around the corner here.
Drain, isn't it?
And I'm in it now, so the ground is relatively soft. I just picked that bit of glass up. But just goes to show that men lived here and men lived and worked here. when I run it over before, Ant shook his head. He didn't inspire me with confidence. But I'm committed now.
Well, it didn't sound like gold. I mean, it's probably a relic.
It's not gold.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it's...
Could be a nice token or something.
Yeah, that's right. I'm hoping it's a coin or something. And as I said, the ground's so soft because it's in a little drain. There he is.
A thimble, you bastard. That's a beautiful one.
Look at that.
I find a flat one, Glenn finds a perfect
Look
one.
at that.
That's a beautiful one.
Look at
that.
that. That's not bad. They reckon, I don't know if it's true or not, but they said that they used to use them to measure out spirits. You know, a measure of spirit was a thimbleful.
Oh,
Whether
really?
that's true or not.
It's a pretty small shot.
Yeah, I know. That's plenty to get me under the weather, but yeah.
Oh, that's a beauty.
But that might have been back in the time that Ant, you know how they got that thimble got its name?
Tell me.
I'll tell you. Shaped like a bell, you know, like a little bell, believe it?
Yeah.
Originally when they were made, they went on your thumb. You sewed and you pushed a big needle through with your thumb. Thumb bell becomes thimble.
Nice.
So that's how they got their name.
There you go. It almost fits on your little finger.
My big sausage fingers. Now this is not involved in our relic challenge. Ant and I are going to pack it up and go for our relic challenge in a minute. But there you are, he's in bloody good nick.
Very good, Nick. That's a great
thing,
Glenn. Well done.
I think he was in good nick because he's been dropped in this drain and that's where he stayed, and he's been protected by the softness of the ground and no one walking over the top of him or the ground compacting him.
Oh, nice work.
So there's the thimble, thumb bell.
Beautiful.
And that's about how much whiskey you would take me to put me under the weather. And about this much.
Yeah, I'd have a few more than there.
I'm counting that.
Thumbs up. Well done.
We're gonna roll out. Good on you, Ant.
Cheers, mate.
We got a comment that someone said, could we film everything we dig and show it in real time? And the problem with that is, first, Ant's too lazy to film me all the time. And it's just impossible to do. But to give you a bit of an idea, we're about 3/4 of the way through our day and we've only been to 2 spots. We're going to have a relic. This is not the relic dig off. We're going to have a relic dig off. That's where we're heading now to finish our day. But Ant will show you here. That's all the stuff that we've dug today. There's Ant's Pennyweight piece. That's a little bit of gold that we found. The thimble. And Ant found a few when he was things. I don't know exactly what that is. That's not lead, even though it looks like lead. It's some sort of got a little hole in it.
Oh, the top
The ubiquitous button. We always seem to get buttons. But all those things. So you know you'd be kicking in the TV if you watch us dig all these nails and various things.
You got about 40 odd targets.
Yeah. So we're happy with our day. We haven't finished our day yet, but we're moving off the gold fields. We're actually going to a gold mine. We're going to a gold mine that wasn't very successful, but which doesn't sound very smart. But it was a 3-man mine, and they worked it for 2 years, and they got traces of gold as they worked down. But they lived there for 2 years, and then after they left, there was a sawmill and a small settlement there. So there's lots of relics. So Ant and I are going to go head to head on the relics and try and end our day that way. So that's where we're at. We're going to have a bit of a smoko, go back to my place, then head out to the relics, and then we'll go to our separate homes. Right out, folks. Whenever you read things that they put on the internet, they always say things like, we found a lost gold mine. Well, this is a lost gold mine. This whole dump is a mine, and it runs right along there. And I did a little bit of research on it, and it was in the 1870s. And the thing about it is, though, that the men were here for 3 years working on it, and they were only relatively successful. In fact, they weren't particularly successful at all. They found gold in the stone on the surface, and they followed it down. There's a deep shaft there, and this dump runs right out, probably how long you reckon, Ant?
Oh, about 100 metres.
Probably 100 metres.
150 metres.
A good 10 metres wide, and you can see, as they do, they've run it out on a tram line, and when it started to run too far away, so that you're pushing the buckets like that and tipping them over, they've taken off in that direction. They've put another spur out that way. So the mining notes gives a list of what their finds were, and they must have been starving because they found about as much as we find on a Saturday afternoon most days. But the interesting thing about it for us is they lived here. They lived over here by the side of the track, and Ant and I are going to have the 3rd round of our relic challenge. We've scored at 1 each at the moment, so this is round 3. So we're on the Lost Gold Mine. The beauty of this is, on the other side of the track, after the 1870s, after this mine was abandoned, there was a small settlement and it was a sawmill. So there's lots of relics on both sides of the track. We're going to go hard. I'm going to leave it up to you. You know the rules. Best thing, best collection of things. Ladies, if you want to pick me because I've got a haircut, that's fair enough. But anyhow, we'll see how we go. Me against Ant. Rightio, Ant.
Let's go. Good luck, Glenn.
Ant and I are at the end of our relic challenge, and we found a startling amount of bugger all. I've got a signal here that sounds all right, and we haven't filmed anything while we've been doing the relic challenge. So come in a bit closer, Ant. I'll dig this one out.
Let's see what you got here.
And then we'll show our relics. We're going to introduce the thimble and the Pennyweight way into it. Just to,
I think we'll have to.
just to guts it out a little bit.
Yep.
Out the hole.
It's good. It's pretty bloody deep, isn't it?
You can't hear it with that.
I can hear it. I don't know if the camera will pick it up.
It's small enough to be something worth having.
Tell me you're gonna bloody get me on the nose. My last dig of the day. No, he keeps running. It's got to be small. In the hand.
Nah.
No? Yeah.
Right. Here we go. going to be that vast of a thing.
The shotguns. Just a piece of metal.
Fold over.
Shell of some sort, is it, or a button?
No, something's been...
Folded though, yeah, definitely.
It might have been a button. Yes, button or a rivet, or back of a rivet or something. Well, that's about the way. I've got a pocket full of that.
Yep.
So we'll go back and have our relic display. Then we've got a story to tell. Weigh our bit of gold. Ant's going to weigh his pennyweight. We're interested to see that it actually weighs its full weight.
Yeah,
And then
we're interested.
We'll head for home.
That's it.
Righto, boys.
Cheers, mate.
Righto, the reason we're in here having our relic competition is that a couple of days ago when I was heading home to my place, I called in here to have a bit of a look, and I found this token. It's a Holloway's token. It says Pills and Ointment around the outside, 1857. Got a gentleman on the back and it says London. So I thought, well, that's a pretty good find. So
Very good looking token.
it is, it's in good nick.
Yeah.
I think it's a half penny too. I don't think it's a penny token, which would make it more valuable. So Ant and I decided at the end of the day we'd have this where we'd have our relic competition. After a bit of legal wrangling, we've decided that we had one win each. It's been dragged through the courts for a couple of weeks now. So we had one. Ant and I won the first one, Ant won the second one. So this is not involved in it. That was just to show you why we're in here. Now, Ant and I have decided that Ant found his pennyweight weight today. That's a pennyweight weight for weighing gold. So that's the equivalent of 1.55 grams or a 20th of an ounce. That's a pennyweight. It's an original weight from back in the 1800s when they were actually out the bush weighing gold. He found that out when we were detecting full gold. I found this thimble when we were out in the same spot, but we've got a startling lack of nothing. So these are your choices. Ant, talk them through yours.
All right, well, this is my lot. Got lots of targets. Obviously just a couple of old nails and rust and junk. Nothing too exciting. Apart from the pennyweight, I also found this, which intrigued me. I was actually using Glenn's Garratt, and it rocked up a 80, 82, and I've cleaned up this little emblem here, and it does say down the bottom, right there, it says Lucas. Glenn tells me it's off a car. This is
a car or a truck. Lucas make lights. They still a company as far as I know, but it looks like something very, very early that's set up on the mudguard of a truck. Like that's where the wiring's come through. That's set on the mudguard like that. It's seen hard times, but that and that are Ant's plums, I believe. Yeah. This is interesting enough.
What's that?
Well, it's obviously served a purpose, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's been manufactured, for a dray or something like that.
What about that? Is that? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. This I know what it is because I found the other half of it. That's part of a cant hook. It's been broken off there, and the cant hook is like a big piece of steel, and all it is for rolling over logs. And there was a sawmill there, so that makes sense. So that's a cant hook. Righto.
What do you got? Talk us through what you got, Glenn.
I've got a lot of non-ferrous ones, but bugger all of any interest. Started with a button, spoon without a bowl, various things that my very pleased with my thimble that I found earlier in the day.
Yeah, that's a good
They're
one.
just lead. That could be whatever that is. It looks as though it's probably 1920s and off the side of a ute, and it's had the thing for tying down the tarp. But bugger all, virtually spoon, button, thimble. The rest are just bits of copper and bits of lead. That's the last thing I dug that I thought was folded over, but it's just something. So that's my finds, piece of brass, but bugger all. So really what you're deciding is who's got the biggest pile of shit.
Surely I've got to win that one.
Yeah.
Surely I'm going to win the biggest pile of shit.
So I reckon Ant wins the collection, and I reckon Ant's weight wins the best object. So it's a triumphant day for Ant.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with
Yeah.
that.
So I concede on both counts there. So
We've got that on camera too.
Yeah.
We've got that on camera. Glenn concedes, I win.
right, Ant, fire up the scales.
Let's see how much this baby weighs.
Now it should weigh 1.55
1.55.
because it's 31.1 grams in an ounce.
1.51.
You might have spent a little bit of time in the ground, plus the scales might
not be exactly
right.
level as well, and yeah, but close enough. Pretty good.
It's an Avery weight, isn't it? Does it say Avery on it? Like they were the weights. They I mean, when you were measuring gold, you didn't muck around. They had to be spot on. I mean, if you're buying gold or selling gold, there was nowhere near enough as good enough.
Yeah. Well, that says standard W and TA. On the back, I can just make out 1 pennyweight. So
yeah, I reckon that'll be WTA and that'll be Avery because they were the weight making company. This is a little bit with gold we found, and you reckon it is?
I reckon it's going to go 0.6.
Righto. I said 0.7, and also said it wouldn't make a gram. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make a gram. I'd love to see it. Oh! Well done, Glenn.
What's it say? I can't even see.
This is
it.
1.01.
Oh,
so it made a gram.
Yeah, made a gram.
Made a gram.
Made a gram.
Wow.
So that's a good.
That's a good
So
result.
at least we got a gram for the day, and we've had a lot of fun. We got off to a late start. Now, a lady rang me last night, and I said, well, she told me her story, and I said, well, send me a thing through Instagram, which she did, and I've got it here on the phone. I'll just read part of it to you. Just bear with me because I'm not like Anne, I'm not forever texting people. We heard you on the ABC radio a few weeks ago talking about your prospecting, so I thought we might know where we could buy a piece of gold. My 7-year-old son Teo is obsessed with gold at the moment, and he has been saving his money to buy a nugget. He has $302 to spend. There's a little bit more there, her name and various things. So I thought, well, here's a bloke, the kid's 7-year-old, he loves gold, and he's been saving his money to buy a nugget. So obviously, we're not going to sell a piece to Teo, but we've got this little bit that we got when we were out the bush a couple of weeks ago. And that weighs...
surprise nugget.
That was the one, yeah, that was the one we didn't think we got.
1.45.
1.45.
That's the one that shrunk in the canister.
Yeah.
We were convinced it was 2 grams at least, and yeah, but still very nice looking.
So Anne's fitted up with a really nice display case, because when you're a 7-year-old boy, if you've got a piece of gold in your hand like that, I reckon about 2 days is your limit before you lose it. If you're lucky, if you haven't lost it in the car on the way home. So Anne's got this display, and we're going to give that to Teo, simply because if you're a 7-year-old kid and you've saved $302, firstly, like it's not worth $302, but firstly, don't be spending your money buying gold. You're a bit too young to be a stacker. So good idea. And we're thrilled that you're interested in gold, and you'll grow up just like Ant, but probably a fraction smarter. And so we're going to give you that to you, mate.
Congratulations.
So congratulations. So that's about all it is, Ant. Ant's won the Relic Challenge, both heats of the Relic Challenge. Found the Pennyweight.
I'll have it off and I'll take it when I can.
Yeah. He found a Pennyweight piece. I found a gram piece. Teo gets a 1 point, whatever it was.
1.45.
1.45. Thanks you very, very much for your comments. I'm very aware that I should have my shirt buttoned up now. And
bang up day.
when you commenting, lay off the old bloke. No, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I'm just pulling your leg.
Young man.
Righto, just so stop you guessing at home, I'm 63.
And fitter than me. 63 and fitter than me.
Righto, folks. We've had a good day. We've found bugger all.
Have.
Oh, we got some gold.
Yeah, I'm wrapped.
Yeah, Ant's had a day out.
Yeah, I've never found a Pennyweight before.
No.
So I'm very happy with that.
Righto, thanks very much from Ant.
Cheers.
Glenn. Thanks for your
guys.
comments, and keep commenting, because that's about the only thrill I get in my life at the moment is reading the comments. So keep it up. Thanks, boys and girls.
Thanks everyone.
Good on you.